Albert Einstein, The Rise of a Global Icon, 1921 to 1923. In the early 1920s, Albert Einstein was not merely a prominent physicist. He had become a symbol of genius and intellectual revolution. The confirmation of his theory of general relativity in 1919, through Arthur Eddington's famous solar eclipse observations, had catapulted him into an international spotlight. But what followed was even more extraordinary. Einstein's image soon transcended the confines of academia, transforming him into the world's first celebrity scientist, a man whose ideas shook the foundations of classical physics and captured the imagination of the public. A new life in the limelight. Einstein's visit to America, 1921. Einstein's journey into this new life of fame began in earnest on April 2, 1921, when he set foot in the United States for the first time. This trip marked the beginning of a frenzied 3-week tour that would profoundly change his relationship with the world. As his ship docked in New York City, he was greeted not just by scientists, but by the city's mayor, John Francis Hylan, in a show of the immense public interest surrounding him. Thousands of curious New Yorkers, having read about the man who had supposedly redefined the universe, crowded the docks just to catch a glimpse of him. During his stay in America, Einstein became a focal point of intellectual and public interest. He delivered several lectures on his revolutionary ideas at prestigious institutions such as Columbia University and Princeton, where packed audiences struggled to grasp the abstract concepts of space, time, and gravity from the soft-spoken physicist. However, Einstein's visit wasn't limited to the academic elite. He was also welcomed to Washington, where he met with the President of the United States, Warren G. Harding, and top officials at the White House, emphasizing the way his fame bridged both scientific and political spheres. Yet, Einstein's journey was about more than public appearances and scientific discussions. He took time to reflect on the American character, publishing an essay in July 1921 titled My First Impression of the USA. In it, Einstein sketched an insightful picture of the Americans he had encountered. He admired their optimism, self-confidence, and friendliness, writing that what strikes a visitor is the joyous, positive attitude to life. The American is friendly, self-confident, optimistic, and without envy. For Einstein, the United States was a land of energy and opportunity, qualities that sharply contrasted with the war-torn and politically fragmented Europe he had left behind. A turn to the east. Einstein's tour of Asia, 1922. In 1922, Einstein embarked on another monumental journey, this time to the east. His 6-month tour of Asia would further cement his status as a global intellectual. The first leg of his trip took him to Japan, where he experienced an almost overwhelming reception. Upon his arrival, the streets of Tokyo were lined with thousands of spectators eager to witness the man whose theories had captivated the world. During his stay, Einstein delivered his first public lecture in Tokyo to a packed audience, and soon afterward, he was received at the Imperial Palace by Emperor Yoshihito and Empress Teimei. In Japan, Einstein observed a culture that fascinated and humbled him. In a letter to his sons, he wrote with admiration about the Japanese people's modesty, intelligence, and artistic sensibilities. Yet, his private diaries tell a more nuanced story. While he admired the artistic spirit of the Japanese, he also remarked that their intellectual needs seemed weaker than their artistic ones. His remarks on other Asian nations were less generous. In China, he noted with disdain what he perceived as a spiritless character in the people he encountered, even writing, "It would be a pity if these Chinese supplant all other races." Einstein's tour continued through Singapore and Sri Lanka, then Ceylon, where he experienced different aspects of Eastern culture and offered his thoughts on the local customs. His views, written candidly in his diaries, have been criticized in recent times for their racial undertones, revealing a side of the scientist that contrasted sharply with his later image as a champion of humanitarian values. A brief but momentous visit to Palestine. In late 1922, Einstein reached the last major stop on his eastern journey, Palestine, then under British mandate. His arrival in Jerusalem was nothing short of spectacular. Sir Herbert Samuel, the British High Commissioner, greeted him with the pomp and ceremony typically reserved for a head of state, even ordering a cannon salute in his honor. This warm reception from both the Jewish and British communities underscored Einstein's significance, not just as a physicist, but also as a prominent Jewish intellectual and Zionist supporter. During his 12-day stay, Einstein visited universities, met with local leaders, and attended events in his honor, one of which was so crowded that people broke down the doors just to hear him speak. In his remarks, Einstein expressed his happiness that Jews were beginning to be recognized as an influential force in global affairs, a sentiment that reflected the growing importance of the Zionist movement in the aftermath of World War I. Missing the Nobel Prize ceremony, while Einstein was busy touring the world, back in Europe, recognition for his scientific achievements reached a pinnacle. In 1922, the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences awarded him the 1921 Nobel Prize in Physics, not for his theory of relativity, but for his work on the photoelectric effect, which laid the groundwork for quantum theory. However, due to his extended travels, Einstein was unable to attend the Nobel ceremony in Stockholm that December. In his absence, a German diplomat took his place, giving a speech that lauded Einstein, not only as a groundbreaking physicist, but also as a tireless advocate for peace in a world still reeling from the devastation of the First World War. Spain and further honors, 1923. Einstein's travels did not stop there. In 1923, he turned his attention to Spain, where he was again met with great fanfare. During a 2-week visit, he was presented with membership in the prestigious Spanish Academy of Sciences. King Alfonso XIII himself handed him the diploma, a gesture that reflected the deep respect Einstein commanded among both scholars and royalty. It was also in Spain that Einstein met Santiago Ramon y Cajal, the pioneering neuroscientist and Nobel laureate, marking a rare and remarkable meeting between two of the 20th century's greatest minds. Coming to terms with fame. By the end of this period, Einstein had traveled across 3 continents, met with emperors, kings, presidents, and intellectuals, and solidified his place not only in the history of science, but also in the global imagination. Yet, fame was not something Einstein sought or fully embraced. He remained a deeply private and introspective man, one who often shied away from the public adulation he received. However, his growing prominence allowed him to become a force for advocacy, particularly in the realm of pacifism and Zionism, causes that would occupy him as much as his scientific work in the years to come.